welcome to this video on excursion from Being Premiere, and we have the first images of the first episode of season 3 as well as the synopsis of this episode titled Shatter. So the information that we have is the following. Boyd feels the town slipping away from him as the weather grows colder and the residents more desperate. We actually see some images why that is, so let's go ahead and discuss all the images that were released today, starting with the first one, which is we see Tian-Chen and we see a lot of people going to her house. I imagine this is because of the food.
Boyd, we're out of food.
That Donna discussed. We also see another image of that. So that's the first image that we see of them maybe going to her house and gathering all the food. Then we have another image of Boyd and Ethan. I imagine he's talking about Davina and then she's going to be all right. So maybe that's this image. Then we have another image of Ethan looking at him like, oh yeah. That's a funny image. What we see from the images is that Kenny and Jim are gonna go into the woods, maybe for Jim to find Davina. Maybe, Ethan is sad about all of that. And what they find is this weird, like, statues. I don't know how to explain it. They look super weird and they're like homemade, maybe against protecting the house. Maybe this was the talisman before they were created. So they look super interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they are. And we have another angle in a different design. Also, we see behind them like a house, so maybe the history of Fromville is finally going to be explained. And that looks like super old, and like the design of the wheel. So how and what is the explanation of this? Now another image of Jim. Maybe they're gonna stay the night there because we see them inside like the house. So maybe they're gonna stay there in another image. And it looks like a lake also, so that's something completely new that we have not seen before. Now, Davina. So there's a lot of images of her and what her journey is going to be. So we see her outside in the hospital, but also in the real world. And there's another image of her like in the town. So maybe what she's gonna find and how she finds the man in the image that maybe is going to be Victor's dad. So the image of him in the house where Davina goes to that house, we see her in the town. There's the real people. Also, when Davina is looking at like up, I think she's seen the church, and that's the conversation that she has with with the father, not with her father, with the father. So that's super interesting that before she goes into Victor's dad house, she goes to the church trying to get answers about all the experiences that she's been through behind her. And yeah, this is a real town, this is the real world. And another image that we see is her arriving to this house where it appears that is Victor's dad and what's gonna happen with that. Now another image that we see, the conversation between Jim, Kenny, and Boyd. I imagine this before they went into the woods. Maybe Boyd is explaining what to do when they arrive in the woods and how to protect themselves. As we know, Boyd has been in the woods a few times. Another image that we see is Boyd talking to Donna. I imagine it's because of the food situation we see in the trailer and what that's going to happen with all the food. As we see from the trailer, the food is destroyed, so they don't have no more food, and this is the reason why we see all the residents going to Tian-Chen house. Also, another image that we see is Boyd and Jade. I imagine Jade is going to be taken to the police station when he gets like we see in the trailer that he's like going crazy. Maybe they take them there, and that's what we see here. And we see them drinking that bottle that there's in the table. That's the same bottle that we saw Father Catry get out of the grass back in season 1. So they're drinking of that. What appears to be is a major focus that the animals are going to be released by the monsters. We see Boyd, Jade trying to rescue the animals, trying to, well, not get them killed. And what we know is that the monsters are getting more intelligent, so maybe they're working together to create a plan. And something that we see in the trailer as well is when one of the monsters is given the keys to Boyd, saying you cannot rescue everyone. It's Sarah. Then Ethan opens the door and we see the grandma going into the house, and the person that rescued them is going to be the character of Sarah when they go outside. Where they go, that's an excellent question, but going from the trailer, we see that a lot is going to happen in this episode until they arrive into the barn and one of the characters is going to die. Who it is, there's a lot of theories. My theory is that it's going to be Tian-Chen, They released another image where it shows a funeral, and there's a lot of similarities to another funeral. I will not discuss a lot of spoilers, but that's my theory. But that's the episode. From what the images that are released, Tabitha in the real world discovering something, and what's going to happen with the food, which is going to be an excellent plot point being developed since the last season. The conversations that Boyd and Jade are going to have, like, hey, what's going to happen with you to Jade? Maybe Jade is going to reveal some more information about what he saw. We see him that he is in the bed, so maybe he was taken there and he slept there. Now, another image that I see, and that is we see Victor, Ethan, Ellis, and Boyd talking to Randall. He's taking one of the goats. I imagine that goat is food, as everyone is desperate with what is happening. Remember, all the food is destroyed. This is Donna's word, and Ethan is like, hey, don't take the goat. Something that we have seen is the love for animals. So, hey, it's everyone for themselves. But from the trailer, we see like, hey, maybe Boyd's going to like explain to him, do not take it, and so on. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and what's going to be the situation for all the characters this season. A lot of the stuff is happening. Fatima's pregnancy, Boyd, Tabitha in the real world, how she's gonna return if she does return. I explained with the faraway tree, so maybe this happens. Now that with the character of what may be Victor's father, what information he tells Tabitha in all the drawings that we see in the trailer. So I am so excited. I cannot wait for the first episode that we saw. What are your favorite? What are you pretty much excited to see, and how this show is going to progress this season? My name is Christian from Being Premiered. You can check out all my from videos right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, one.